Hey guys, this is UC from iTradePrice. It is Sunday morning. Tomorrow is a federal holiday, so we will not have the markets open. So just to plan accordingly. Let's start with QQQ. Okay, so I know the month is not over. We still have a week and a half or so left, but it's always good to just kind of keep an eye on it. So here's a monthly view, right? Uh, Definitely we broke the uptrend line, right? If I just do this something like that, the up channel, we're already below that, right? So, and this last monthly current month bar, January, it's just looks pretty bearish, right? It's trading towards the low end of previous month. So that's bearish in itself. And we have this support that it is looking to break down from, right? At least from the looks of it, right? The way it is going. If it holds, sure, we'll see what happens. But if it breaks below this 334 level, then the next level to consider or target would be around 316, right? Because that's where you have these multiple touch points and all these bars were kind of closing towards this this level 316. So it has some significance, right? So you have to kind of keep that in mind. And below that is 299 or 300 psychological number. Quickly, we'll just take a look at the weekly bar as well. Still downtrend, downswing, right? Lower highs, lower low here, right here in the previous week. So from swing perspective, we're still down, right? We broke this mini up channel, that line that we were sort of targeting to see if it breaks down, and it did. And just look at the price action in itself. You have these more bearish bars, right? More bearish trend bars. And the bullish bars that appear up, they really don't show any big follow through. Like these 2 days couldn't even get above 357, even if there were strength by bulls, but they couldn't even get above the high of this bearish bar, right? And then the bearish bars you see, they're all trend bars, right? So that means that shows force towards the downside, right? We have this top wick follow through to the downside, right? So still heavy on the short side, right? And now we have previous monthly support or the previous structure support where it kind of stopped, right? Exactly like this. So below that, we have this level right here, 334 as the low. And if it breaks down that level, I already told you, we have 316 to kind of target. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at Amazon. Let's start with weekly view. Okay. Below this uptrend line, we saw a little bit of bounce and a back test, right? So when it broke down from here, we saw a back test of this trend line, right? Couldn't really get a move above that, and we started seeing these top wicks and pressure come to the downside. Let's look at daily view. Some can say that it's not really an ideal looking, I'd say, sideways or bull flag channel. It's just too too much selling pressure, I would say, right? So that's not what you want to see in a bull flag kind of a pattern, right? So this is where the support structure was. That's where we keep bouncing from. So giving up 3017, 3015 level can push the price a little bit down as well. So this one is not showing all the levels, right? If I switch to the other chart, that's where you see all the channels, and that's what we share with you. So it's easier to trade, and just if you look at actually an hourly time frame, it's pretty the way it's showing up, right? Is it's kind of giving these channel type moves. So now this one, if it breaks down, we can see a little bit move down towards the channel down, right? So to feel somewhat bullish, right, or to start seeing a move towards the top side, I would definitely want to see a move above 3110, right? That's just the low of the structure. So we want to be above the low of this price structure, right? Just try to target this one right here. Otherwise, this one can kind of go downside the way market has been acting lately. Apple, quickly. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Still relatively better than the other names, right? We don't have like big bearish bars. We do have these top wicks here in the recent weeks, so that means again, the sentiment of the market has been bearish, but all these 3 weeks have not been able to break down below the even the midpoint of this bullish bar. So relatively stronger name, right? But giving up this 162 can definitely add more pressure to the downside. In the daily view, yeah, it's better, but again on the weak side, right? So we'll see if it gives up 165, then 162.8 is the level to see. And if you just kind of zoom out a little bit on a bigger time frame, I think the way I was looking it to play was that, hey, if it makes this sort of an inverted head and shoulder kind of a move, try to get above this 177.2 as a neckline, which it never did, so it did not really trigger the long trade. It kind of gave up that move, but still in that range where if it gives a move back up towards 177.2 and then breaks out above that, yeah, that pattern can play out. Okay, Tesla, everyone's favorite. Let's take out the lines. Let's go to like a weekly view. So still holding this uptrend line, but does not look good, right? We have all these bearish bars, and then just feels like this. If you take a look at this view here, it just can feel that this wants to break down further with a move like this, right? Where you can just do like this, move down towards 763 at least, right? Because the 2 previous weeks, bearish weeks, top wick, we tried to get above, but couldn't really hold the move to the upside, and it closed back below on the trend line, right? So, and the previous 2 days were pretty heavy selling days. So yeah, we might see a little bit of cute bounce towards the early part of next week, but unless or until we get above, right, the high from Friday or even the high from Thursday, 920, it's in the bearish structure, right? The chances of it breaking down further are higher. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. And we can actually adjust this one to something like this, just to kind of give us a little bit of reference point as a trend line to look for this mini trend line, right? So we'll keep an eye on that. Shop. Shop. All right. So we did trade this one on the downside all throughout the previous 2-3 weeks, right? Been giving good range, good pattern that played out, and you can see this was sort of the bearish flag pattern, and this last bounce from this channel couldn't really take the price above the half point of this channel, and it ultimately broke down based on earnings, and since then has been weak, right? 595.9 is sort of the area to look for a bounce trade, right? But still, it's a bounce trade, which means it can bounce towards this trend line and still go back down, right? So treat it as a bounce, not as something that we're in a long market or anything like that. On a weekly view, see, that's where the touch points were. So that is a good point to consider for a long play, right? We had this one touch point, 2, 3 right here, and then let's see if it gives us a touch point right here. If this breaks down further, then 417.8 is a major support level, right? This one is with a major support level. But again, we're far from that for right now. Okay, let's do NVDA. Weekly view, again, earnings saw a bounce, but then from the weekly perspective, all this selling pressure, right? Top wicks closing towards the low end of its week, and holding this mini channel, mini uptrend line right now. But if that gives up, then definitely 208.9 we can target further, something like where it wants to go and touch this long-term uptrend line, right? That could be a good level to play a swing bounce from here if the price gets there. But we have multiple support levels before we get there. In a daily view, again, sort of a double top right here around 266 right level, right? One right here, this one right here, and then we have multiple touch points right here. So that means this is a significant resistance. So any breakout towards the top side has to get above 266 to kind of play that. Otherwise, yeah, sure, you can just kind of see the move up, and still this trend line can give you resistance. And on the downside, we'll look to see if this one gets taken out as the price is getting tight. So it wants to break out above that, or it will go and break to the downside towards this uptrend line. But the way sentiment is, strength gets sold. So we will look to see if this support level around 228.6 gets taken out as our first support level that it has held so far. So if it gives up, definitely the chances are we're seeing more downside here. Okay. Okay, let's check out Square. Let's check out the weekly view. Pretty damn bearish still. And a lot of people try to buy the bounce and all that stuff, right? They were feeling that, hey, we should look to play the bounce right here, and even right here, right? So that's again not a good long-term strategy. The trend is down, so look to sell the strength. And how do you sell the strength? You look for a bullish price action, right? This is a weekly view, but you can always look in a daily or even lower time frame for a strength, and then just look at this. Just sell the strength, and you would have been doing okay. Don't try to buy the bounce. The bounce will not give you the money quick enough, and you will just end up holding the back. So now the earnings are coming up for this name, and if I zoom out a little bit, you can see this level has had some significance in the past, right? You can see we had multiple touch points here at around 84, right? Over here, it was a resistance, and then it became a support, and we never saw price come back down from there. And now if I fast forward, we're getting back into the same zone. So what do? Again, earnings can be a different twist, but that can even pop or whatever. But since it has been sold so far already, it's worth a short, right? You can be in like calls, like a lot of calls kind of a play, because it's not bad, this level. Yes, if it goes further down, sure, you will just lose what you risk. But since it has already sold down so much, chances are it can just hold this level, right? So we'll see if it gets to 83.7 before earnings for a bounce or not. But this has been a good area that price has some history here. Okay, let's take a look at Roku. I know I have not been trading this name a lot, but it has come to the point where it is at a long-term uptrend line. Like, if I look at this monthly view, wow, what a brutal selling it has gone through, right? Imagine holding it from like maybe 340 or 400 region, and then just seeing this decline, right? This like, I don't know, 60-70% decline in the price. So anyways, but this is how it is. We are at this uptrend line. Again, the earnings I think are already out. So yeah, it's worth a swing here, I think. Again, but in the market environment like this, swing trades have not been working. But if you want to take a chance with the defined risk, let's say you get long between 103 and 91, somewhere like that, keep your stop loss around 80 or something like that, and see if it gives you a move back above at least towards 140s, right? Not bad. It can be a good, but again, not for short-term trading, because in short term, this can even go further down. But if you want to swing, you give yourself a large enough stop loss to see some swing, and then see if it goes back up, right? Let's look at a daily chart. We saw this move there. It gapped down based on the earnings, but it kind of bounced a little bit from 103. So my buy area would be 103 and 91, something like that, for a swing trade, right? Because it is at that price level that historically speaking, it has an uptrend line and a monthly level and just the price support. So it can be good. All right, let's take a look at one more. Let's do SPY. Okay. Uh, so it has also been weak along with the QQQs, right? Same sort of double top here in the recent past, right? You see right here, downtrend line, making lower highs, uh, double top right here in the previous week in a daily time frame. Then we saw two brutal days of selling, and it is down below where it had this structure support. So it can, we'll see if it kind of gives us a little bounces from here. But again, those are just bounces. I'm not looking to swing any long because the pressure remains to the downside. So the better trades, quality trades are on the downside on selling the strength so far, right? And it has also broken this mini sort of uptrend line, whatever you want to call it, channel, but pressure is to the downside. And then if the structure low is also taken out right here, right, that can even put more pressure to the downside and target this 420 area. Okay, so we'll see if that one plays out according like that. Okay, here's a chart of Boeing. This is a weekly view, and you can see it has been in this steady, stable, sideways to down channel, right? So this channel breakout would definitely be an opportunity to trade. So keep that channel on your uh, chart. If we see a move up, right, we'll see if it gives us a daily close above that, above 220 or 223, something like that. Uh, and then we can target the higher end of this price range where you have these touch points as targets, right? We'll see. But it has held pretty nicely here in the recent past, recent history, but the rest of the market being down so much, especially the tech names, right? So this one has done a little relatively well. We have this 185.2 area as support, then it closed above 205 as well, but it finds resistance, right? As part of this channel downside, all this is resistance here. So once that gets taken out, we can see if it moves to the upside or if it tries to make a move down and then makes a higher low and then even takes out, that's a good scenario as well. So you just play out the different patterns and just keep an eye on it and see which one gets triggered. Okay, but you always have to plan that way so that you don't get caught chasing the price or anything like that. Okay.